Explosive revelations regarding the Donald Trump doing illegal business in communist Cuba with the Fidel Castro regime story from last week. Donald Trump's co-manager, Kellyann Conway, seemed to either accidentally or cluelessly admit that yes, the bombshell Newsweek story last week by Kurt Eichenwald alleging that Donald Trump broke U.S. law by doing business in Cuba, spending $68,000 there exploring business opportunities, is indeed true. Kellyann Conway was on ABC's The View, and she very clearly doesn't deny that Donald Trump spent money in Cuba while looking into business opportunities there. Kurt Eichenwald seems to be exactly right on this. Here's Kellyann on The View. You determine whether this was an accident or whether she admitted what she thought was not a big deal without realizing this is a major, major deal. Take a look at the video.
I want to ask you about a story that's breaking this morning from Newsweek, that one of Trump's companies spent money in Cuba during the embargo when Fidel Castro, during his regime.
The whole story.
But these are serious accusations.
To find out that then he didn't invest in it. No, they're not treasonous. I read the entire story. It starts out with the screaming headlines, as it usually does, that he did business in Cuba, and it turns out that he decided not to invest there. If to read the entire story.
Are you denying that his company spent any money in Cuba?
I think they paid money, as I understand from the story, they paid money in 1998. I know we're not supposed to talk about years ago when it comes to the Clintons, but with Trump,
well,
there is no statute
right now.
He's
bring it up. He's the one.
But I don't believe you're allowed to spend money unless it's a humanitarian effort or a government effort in that context if you're dealing with this particular regime.
It's not going to work in Miami. They're not going to like that.
Right. So the question is, did he spend money? He's very critical of Cuba. He's very critical of Castro, and he's been critical. He gave a speech the very next year to the Cuban American National Foundation in Miami, critical of those who want to do business with Castro. And he's talked about the Cuba embargo even on this trail. But again, we're talking about, did his hotel invest money in 1998?
So he decided not to invest there. No denial of the fact that money was spent there. Asked if she's denying that he spent the funds, she said, "I think he paid the money back in 1998. That is what is illegal. That is the allegation of the Newsweek story by Kurt Eichenwald. That is against the law. This is a good opportunity for me to clarify. After our first story on this, people started emailing me saying, "David, how can you be in favor of the Cuban embargo? It's a disaster." I've been against the Cuban embargo for as long as I have known about it, right? I remember being a little kid and being against the Cuban embargo. This is not being in favor of or against the Cuban embargo. This is about Donald Trump's hypocrisy on many levels. At the first debate, remember, he went on this rant about law and order. He's about law and order. Hillary Clinton is not about law and order. If you ignore federal law because you want to explore doing business in Cuba, that is not law and order, and that's a separate issue from anyone's opinion about the Cuban embargo, which I agree was always a disaster. Donald Trump has been publicly critical of the Castro regime for a long time. He panders to Cuban American voters, but it seems really he would have been fine doing business with the Castro regime. There's no indication that after spending these $68,000, he didn't do business with the Castro regime because he realized, oh wait, I'm against communism and I'm against Castro. It appears that it was just a business decision that they didn't want to pursue this any further. How else has the Donald Trump campaign tried to push back against this story? Well, Steve Cortez, a Trump surrogate, acknowledged the report in Newsweek by Kurt Eichenwald, but he said, if this was a violation, it was an incredibly technical violation. It is illegal to spend money in Cuba, or it was at the time. Trump spent money in Cuba. Is that a technicality, or is that just breaking the law exactly as plainly written in simple English? You can decide about that, but the two most important points here are the fact that the Cuban embargo was shameful and capricious doesn't in any way excuse the actions of Donald Trump. And number two, nobody is denying the facts of the report from the Trump campaign. They are denying that it was recent. They are arguing that it was a technicality. They are saying that they ultimately decided not to invest in this business, but nobody is actually denying the facts of the story. And that is really the important thing. We're 30-something days out from the election. Florida is hugely important. If Trump does not win Florida, the path to 270 electoral votes is incredibly difficult. This could have an impact, no doubt about it. Omaha Steaks sent me a great package of steaks, and it was fantastic. As some of the audience knows, my girlfriend is pescatarian, so I invited over some of my meat-eating friends, and we used my new grill that I finally got now that it's almost fall, and everybody loved it. It was terrific. I kind of rather grill in the fall than summer, just less oppressively hot. And the limited time family grill pack that Omaha Steaks is offering for just $49.99 is a really great way to do it. You will get 2 filet mignons, 2 top sirloins, 4 boneless pork chops, 4 chicken fried steaks, a 12-ounce package of all beef meatballs, 4 Omaha Steaks burgers, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, a 16-ounce package of Omaha Steakhouse fries, 4 caramel apple tartlets, Omaha Steaks seasoning, and 4 additional Omaha Steaks burgers. And just for my listeners, Omaha Steaks is offering all of this for only $49.99. This is a huge savings. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter my code Pakman in the search bar, and add the family grill pack to your cart. Do not miss this deal. Visit omahasteaks.com and enter my code Pakman in the search bar to get over 30 gourmet items for $49.99.